Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Well, welcome to our show.
And welcome to
our podcast.
Yes,
Excuse me.
Being Here.
Yes. We used to have a radio show called Being Here.
Now it's a podcast
Called
Being Here.
Right.
Have you noticed?
We finish each other's sentences.
We do. I'm Ariel.
I hadn't noticed until you said, have you noticed? And then I noticed.
Yes, well, that's because it's normal for us.
That's right. It's really kind of interesting how what you consider to be normal, you don't even see anymore. You know, it becomes background. So that we finish each other's sentences is so normal to us that it's not extraordinary, but it is.
Today's episode
Mm-hmm.
is It Takes a Team.
You got a little
Do I have something in my nose?
Yes.
So I guess it takes a team to make sure that my nose is clean too.
That's true. Got to keep your nose clean.
Well, when we conceived of this particular episode, we realized that so much has been happening in our lives since the COVID pandemic, where we came back in early March from what we had expected to be a 10-day trip to visit family in multiple places, go to a wedding, and that didn't happen.
And go bone fishing.
Right? That poor guy is like, no fishing. And we ended up turning around the same day, coming home, and working with a team of people to reorganize our seminars so we could immediately have them as global video seminars via
Virtually.
Zoom.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were also scheduled to head out to Hamburg, Germany, to do a couple of courses there and do consulting and meet with some teams of people. And we realized we were not going to be able to go. So it took a team of people to help us reorganize that, not only to have that seminar turned virtually, but to make sure we took care of all the people we had contracts with for room rentals and hotel rentals and even our airlines. It took a team of people to support us in turning our lives around so they could be configured the way they are now. And I'm not sure about you, but sometimes I've been trained to think that the home of the free and the brave and the independent, that there's something noble about being independent. And I'm discovering the nobility in allowing myself to be interdependent. So today's show, that's the theme we are exploring. And we're happy that you're here with us.
So let's talk about
listening.
That's right.
Well, that is definitely teamwork.
It really is, because in order to truly listen, you have to suspend your internal conversation and how it comments on what's being said, specifically to see whether it agreed or disagreed with what's being said, or it feels it already knows what's being talked about, so it can be dismissive of what's coming your way. True listening is including what's being said by others, not sorting through to see if it fits what you already believe to be reality.
I like that.
Yeah, because, you know, we all think we know what reality is. And of course, we filter reality to fit our reality, because for the most part, there's a lot going on out there and we only see what we know to see.
You know, one of the other wonderful things about truly listening is it pulls you past or out of circular thoughts or upsets.
And it pulls you into the current moment of your life.
And in the current moment, your life transforms. And one of the things I've found so far on this particular episode is right before we started, our cat went for a run. She jumped on top of a surface she normally jumps on, and I had placed a blanket there. The blanket slipped and she went right off our loft, right to the floor down below, 12 15 feet. It's a ways. And I heard this thump, and I was very concerned that she might have hurt herself. And of course, we went and looked, and she seems to be fine, a little shaken up, but she's fine. But I found that replaying as Shya was talking about listening.
So you weren't listening to what I was saying. You were looking at your internal conversation about what you should have, could have done differently, so that never would have happened.
Right.
Because
Or how we dealt with it immediately after, what we said, what we did. And so it was an interesting time frame to keep bringing myself back to what you're saying.
Well, I don't guess. I need to apologize because I was a little bit strong on the blanket statement, because there was a blanket there that she slid from. And
also it looked funny to the people who were, and you're like, it's not funny. Well, it was visually, but it wasn't funny
in reality.
So there was a reaction.
Yes.
That was stronger than our normal interactions. And I think that's something that happens when you get scared or frightened. I'm not saying you, it's the global you.
There was a concern for the cat's well-being because it fell this long distance.
And it was something we've been concerned about since.
She came to our house.
Yeah. And walked along up here because it's her favorite place. So.
Right. Maybe she'll develop a fear of heights. I don't know.
Anyway, listening is an amazing tool. Thank you for your apology, by the way. That was very sweet. It's true.
Well, I got upset.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. It's true. You get upset, and then your ability to be fully appropriate falls away.
Right.
And the upset takes over. But let's talk about those 3 principles of instantaneous transformation. The first is anything you resist, you get stuck with. So clearly I resisted that she fell. Mm-hmm. We both did. It sounded like she landed on her feet, but can't tell from here.
Well, it sounded like she hit hard, but you can't, but 12 feet is a hard drop.
Yeah. If, I would guess higher than that.
You and I would have broken bones from that.
We would. So
probably would not survive it.
Clearly, we're still resisting it. Second principle: you can only be exactly as you are. So if you're upset, you're upset. Third principle: anything you allow to be exactly as it is, without judging it or resisting it or wishing it was better.
You mean it? Without saying we shouldn't have done what we did that enabled the cat to fall?
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy to go back. If I hadn't have picked her up, if I hadn't have put her on the couch, if I hadn't have put the thing there.
So I didn't see what actually happened. You picked her up from here. And put her on the couch, and then she jumped onto, and the whole thing went over the top.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. So
that must have been funny to see.
Yep, it probably was pretty funny to see.
Sorry, Renat.
Speaking of Renat, she is our first teammate here as a guest. Why don't we go ahead and take her?
Right.
And hi, honey.
Hi, Ariel. Hi, Shya.
Hope I wasn't too strong about that isn't funny, but it wasn't very funny.
No,
but it might have seemed very funny from watching it.
And I have so much compassion because you want the best for your cat. I get that for sure. Yeah.
Tell us where you're zooming in from today.
I'm zooming in from Biesserach in Switzerland.
Biesserach.
Yeah.
Excellent. Welcome.
Did I say it right? Biesserach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I could almost be Swiss.
and actually one cool thing about cats I learned that they are really clever, that they nearly every time land on their feet.
Yes.
Even which height it is, that they're so fast in turning themselves that they have a really high capacity to land on their feet. So
it's a good thing.
Yes, yes, it's a good thing. Yeah. And talking about team, I'm really thankful to you, like learning to support each other and to I learned with you guys to work in a team and to really be of service to each other. And it's so helpful or so good to see. Even sometimes I don't think it needs something, but like as a group, something can there can be ideas discovering within a group that you would never have expected on your own. So I'm a lot of times surprised what a team can give you as a support or can create all together.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So are you talking about volunteer teams that you're working with, your teamwork at work, your teamwork with your husband? Give us an example.
Like this thing what I was referring to was a volunteer team that we had a team meeting together, and I was in the last part of writing my master thesis, and one person said, yeah, I can help you with this, just pass it on, we can do it together. And it would never had occurred into my mind to partner each other for this task. And that was like so surprising and so lovely to see how fun it was and how good it turned out. So that was.
So let me just be clear. You wrote the thesis,
Mm-hmm.
but you passed it on and they gave you suggestions of where it wasn't clear or
they
things
helped,
you needed to do?
Yes, I wrote the thesis and they helped me to shorten it because it was a little bit too long to put some words out or to kick some words out, that it still has the essence and it sounds crisp and clear. And that was so beautiful. So a shout out to Anina, to your support. That was lovely.
Excellent. That's great. I didn't want to leave people thinking they helped you write it when it was your thesis.
All good.
They helped you edit.
Yes.
That's pretty fun that you had enough in there that you could take stuff out to make it tighter and crisper and cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really excellent. So did you have a question for us today, or were you?
Yes, I have a question working wise. So
Okay.
I work in a bigger team as a nurse when I work. And sometimes we speak a lot about listening. And I saw that sometimes I tend to listen more or give more attention if someone has a concern. I'm really like there and try to listen and be there. And if everything works well, I'm like, oh yeah, good, and go on to the next thing. So I'm sometimes not sure if I encourage more the things that don't work that good. If what can I like do more to support when it runs and works perfectly?
Well, I think you've already given yourself your own answer on that one, because if people are in attention deficit, which is something I know there is attention deficit disorder, the real thing.
But most people do not get enough attention.
So if they register that you are the kind of person who will give them committed, focused attention, if they have problems, they can potentially create a cycle
more and more problems just to get your attention.
So we see that lots of times with people who have kids or animals or friends, that you can begin to give them attention before there's a need. But part of it requires you to be fully engaged rather than having a pass through and saying, oh, everything's fine. And so giving yourself license to be removed as opposed to fully engaged in what a person might have to say.
Mhm.
Or even looking to see if they may not know it yet, but they're just a day shy, 5 minutes shy of needing a little energy boost before they fall off center and need you for something, where you say, wow, your glasses look really great today. Or it's so nice to see you. Or it looks like it's cooler there. You're wearing a jacket.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Hey, you want to hear about transformation?
Mm-hmm.
We've got one of our listeners about to tell you about what's happened in their life out of listening to being here.
This is Lenore in Montclair, New Jersey. And one of the things I've noticed in transformation is I am happy to be me. I wake up in the morning and it's kind of cool to be my roommate. You know, I really enjoy that. And that was not who I was years ago. I remember feeling uncomfortable in myself. I remember thinking, oh, maybe if I was like her, I'd be better. Maybe if I was like him, I'd be better. But now there is actual joy and ease and sweetness in being myself. And I really appreciate that. I'm grateful for that every day.
If you would like to experience an expanded sense of well-being, join us. Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive global video seminars. Participate in any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have a couple of video seminars coming up, virtual seminars.
Zoom seminars.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this Zoom format.
Zoom format is amazing. It's actually, I believe, more effective, if it's possible, than in-person seminars.
I'm not certain, and I'll tell you why. My experience is we're all getting more effective. So I have a feeling if we were to do an in-person seminar now, it would be the most effective one yet. If we come back to the Zoom format, it would be the most effective one yet.
Well, maybe each moment is a new opportunity to be the most effective you can be.
In this November, if you want to be effective at discovering the healer in you, that's the course we're doing in November on the 21st and 22nd. And we're also...
And you can do it from the privacy of your own home.
Which is really lovely.
You don't have to travel.
No, I like that. You know, lunchtime, you don't have to figure out where you're going to eat. It's pretty easy. And you just travel to your computer station, your studio. Also in December, Susan Finch and I are doing a fun series of Wednesday evenings, New York City time. You'll have to check in your time zone, called Speak Up, the first 3 Wednesdays in November. You can find out about our global video seminars on Monday nights, the occasional Tuesday, Saturdays, and everything else that we're doing at transformationmadeeasy.com. Let's take our next Zoom guest.
Yes. So that would be David.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, guys. I'm zooming in from Winnipeg in Canada.
It's so nice to see you. We're actually doing this with our cameras on. I know that y'all will just be hearing Dave's voice, but yes,
Dave's a very handsome man.
He is as handsome and as sexy as he sounds.
Just give me a moment. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
it's good to be here with you.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah. You know, you talked about the global video seminars that happen Mondays and Saturdays. And for me, coming from Winnipeg, I used to come when you did in person in New York as often as I could, but that would be a few times a year. And the consistency, the frequency of being able to interact with the community has been so supportive to me.
Mm.
And how quickly you guys shifted from, when we suddenly couldn't travel, to me it just looked like a miracle. But I hear and I see behind the scenes, how many people are involved in making this available to me and to lots of other people. It's really a gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
One of the things I'm grateful about is that Shya and I have realized that we don't have to be the smartest person in the room. That there are people who are incredibly skilled at so many different things. And in the case of technology, we were realizing that it was time to do global video seminars. Our friends, first of all, they encouraged us. They said, you had it in play. You have the bones in place already.
What I find so interesting is we would never have moved from Voice America, where we had our Being Here show, had they not expressed themselves there in a way that we were not congruent with. We could not align ourselves with.
We were ready to do another contract for 60 weeks. We had them draw up the contract, but the way certain individuals there interacted with us, we realized that we could not put our time, our finances, our connection, our heart.
Yeah.
We
could not in
that
conscience.
That was not a team we wanted to be a part of.
That's right.
And even if it meant losing everything, as in we wouldn't be able to get it back up and going right away, we were willing to risk that because our integrity was more important.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
It was to continue to be with that station would have been an out in our integrity, in that the person we spoke to was so not in alignment with where about.
And our values. So
that's right.
One of the things that I really see about that too, Dave, is that when it came time to take the leap, and we just wrote out to our friends and including, and a couple of our really close friends own the web company where they develop, host. Our friend, whilst bringing his son to college, his first time at college during COVID, they risked it. They went to in-person. He's there with his son. He downloads 3 entire series of all of our episodes. We had almost 700 episodes on Voice America. He made 3 full copies of all the episodes.
So that we wouldn't lose them.
So that if somehow got turned off or disrupted, we would have all the content. I wouldn't know how to do that. He did that in the spare time between moving his son into the room, having a meal. He did it without taking any time away from his family. Kudos to Andy Gideon, Amy Gideon, Tag Online, the incredible staff. They have stepped up. If you need a website, if you need hosting services, if you need anything with web services, tagonline.com. I cannot say enough about them.
They put us up on the web when we didn't know what the web was.
Yeah, they told us about electronic mail, and I thought it was mail that got printed out at the post office and put in your physical post office box. That's how long ago they introduced us to the web.
It was in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Like 90,
they
91.
They said, we want to put you up on the web. And we said,
like,
okay,
what is the
hurt?
web? Charlotte's Web? Yeah. So it was excellent.
And
so, yes, I see you see it as a miracle. But part of what makes it miraculous, Dave, is that even with all of the pieces that we didn't know how to do yet, none of those pieces had to be a cause of distress.
Right.
Well, the other thing is this: your universe will support you when you start being congruent to your integrity. When you are operating within your integrity, your universe supports you. When you're operating outside of your integrity, your universe doesn't support you. You don't support you. And there's this reality that we live in, that when you do the right things happen. And when you are dishonest with yourself, you create
Mischief.
You create problems that you then deal with, so you don't have to look at your own dishonesty, because you've got these problems to deal with. So they're actually helpful, if you will.
You know, the other thing, I know we're talking to you and you're listening. It's so lovely to watch you listen, by the way, is when we had the shake-up, the mix-up with Voice of America, we could either be right that this individual was wrong, or we could recognize that this was an opportunity for everyone, for that person, for us, for the network, for everything. And so I personally am harboring no ill will to it. In fact, we would not be here today with you if we hadn't have gone every step of the way.
You see, your past has been a perfect past. It got you to the current moment. And if your life is great in the current moment, then your past was absolutely perfect. And if your life isn't great in the current moment,
then you're probably being right about something.
Being right and resisting something, thinking it ought to have been different than it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, I ought to have been born into royalty, except I wasn't. And actually, in truth, I wouldn't want to be. But as a kid, I thought my best friend's family was where I should have been born into, not the family I got.
And roundabout now, Shya thinks he should have been born a Canadian so that he can go fishing in Canada, because we're not allowed in the country at the moment.
Maybe you could adopt me.
You know, so much of what you say it rings true in a way that until I'd met you, I couldn't have seen. The idea that, for instance, that operating in integrity somehow makes your life more congruent and easier, trusting that the universe will take care of you. You know, that things will happen to take care of you. I hadn't experienced that before.
Of course not. But you can't do being integritous to get the universe to align with you. But you can be integritous. And sometimes being integritous doesn't look like your belief system. I'll tell you what I mean. I am a fisherman. I've been a fisherman since I'm a child. I'm almost 80 years old. I am a very accomplished fisherman. I don't like to hurt fish. So somehow there's this incongruity between fishing and piercing lips.
Giving them free lip piercing.
Right. Now, some people pay money to get their lips pierced. I do it for free. But I do my best not to hurt the creatures that I pursue.
Interact with, yep.
You know, it's like I'm a hunter that doesn't kill things.
Mm.
And I know it's not the love and light belief system that you shouldn't hurt animals or fish by fishing for them. That's one belief system. We once had a person who attacked us quite strongly for fishing and enjoying fishing. See, passion is hard to achieve and easy to destroy. I'm not big on destroying people's passions. What else can I say about that? I don't know. When you are true to yourself, your universe supports you. It's been my observation that the birds that come to our bird feeder find food in the universe to feed themselves with. Everything's there for them. It's the same with our universe. Everything is there for us that we need. Now, sometimes we think we need more than we need. Sometimes we think we need things to make us feel more comfortable. I don't know. I lived without electricity off the grid for 5 years, in the woods of Maine, which I believe were as cold as Canada, because I was right near Canada.
There is something in what you said, though, about how you hadn't experienced before, or it didn't occur to you that the universe will support you if you let it. And I can see in you, your experience, but as people are hearing this as a concept, I can tell that some people are likely to throw up their hands and say, okay, universe, support me, not recognizing that part of it that has you be so supportable is how fully engaged you are in your life. When you really fully engage, when you listen to people, when you're here for what you're up to, that
creates the integrity, you see, because you're here to see that your actions have consequences, and how you are affects the people and things around you. And so as you become more sensitive to your environment, then you are less destructive to yourself.
Yeah, I actually have an example of how it has been for me. I'm a consulting engineer and I operate my own business. And my tendency had been to become anxious about, the work that's going to come, that hasn't shown up yet, that's going to come. And especially when I would get stuck in the moment on a project that I'm working on, it was easy for me to go off into the future and then get anxious about, as a distraction from where I was. And I started to see that happening and noticed, just in the noticing of it, the anxiety lifted, and I would bring my attention back to what I had to do, that I'd agreed to do and committed to do. And some different things happened. One is I found the resources I needed to do what I was stuck with. So every situation would resolve. And then the next thing that happens, and has happened more consistently, is that the next project, just comes just in time, or the lag got less and less, to the point sometimes where I had more work than I could handle in the time that I thought I needed to handle it. And to see that happening, when I let go of the idea that somehow the future was going to be difficult, challenging, scarce, all those ideas, they still spin around in my mind, but they don't come in as often and hijack me from what it is that I'm engaged in.
Well, I got to stop you there, because they don't hijack you. It's when you don't want to do something, you bring them into your reality to work on, that will distract you from what you don't want to handle.
I just got a really funny image. It's like whenever you want to be distracted, you go fly that kite and grab onto the tail, and it takes you for a ride.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
The other thing I've noticed is, as we've created a network, a team of people all over, I find that someone will send me a text or an email or give me a call just when I need it. And you were listening to us. I don't recall when we were talking about how lovely it would be to come visit you in Manitoba. And you were like, I will give you a virtual tour. So we sat one morning and you took us around to the bicycle sculpture and you took us all around your city. It was so beautiful. And it allowed us to experience friendship, community, that intimacy of being with people, even though in person, aside from people we may pass at the grocery store, since March, I was figuring it out. We've seen a dozen people in total.
We've seen a dozen?
Because we saw our kids, and
my son, and my sister.
And then Teresa came over to take pictures.
Right.
So we've seen a few people, but you're talking about one person a month, two people a month. It's like, but you're extending yourself takes care of people. And it's not that we needed that. It was that you were gracious enough to offer it. And then in the receiving, we realized, wow, we really needed that. It was quite lovely.
That's very sweet.
In German, they have this saying.
That's my experience of you.
Yes, selber, selber.
Very sweet.
It takes one to know one.
Oh, you guys.
Thank you so much for zooming on in and being part of the podcast today. It's such a delight to be with you.
Yeah, just to hang out with you is a gift.
Yeah. And thanks for also inviting your friends to the Global Video Seminar. It's been such an amazing asset to meet them and get to know them and fall in love with them. So thanks.
My pleasure.
Well, if you enjoyed the podcast, we're moving toward the end today. If you want to register, to get it in, register my brain. If you want to sign up to get them come automatically to you, you can do that on your favorite podcast app. And you can also share the link for this with any of your friends. They might really enjoy it. And if you want to be a guest on our podcast, there's a place on our website, the amazing website by Tag Online. TransformationMadeEasy.com/being here. You just go there and you can fill out the form and our producers will get back to you. So that's going to be it for today.
So thanks for being with us.
You want to know next week's episode?
Oh, yeah. What's next week's episode?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let curiosity drive.
Let curiosity drive.
Most people drive with their intellect. We're letting curiosity drive.
I like that.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week. Come on back.
And don't miss
being here.